Hi, my wife and I are over here on our farm. We live here in Morgan County, a farm that we purchased about 5 or 6 years ago. I was going to retire. We took some of our retirement money, took it out of the bank to purchase this ground so we wouldn't know anything on it as an investment. I bought it to hunt on. I'm an avid outdoorsman. I've spent the last 5 years doing some conservation work on it. We bring our grandkids over here. They love to come over and explore and shed hunt and dig through the creek and things like that. But the reason we're making this video is we found out since the data center had been built in Monrovia, which is about 5 or 6 miles from us, is that AES has a proposed transmission line, a high voltage line that's going to run all the way from Martinsville, 10 miles, just to supply the data center. And this is one of the proposed routes. There were many of them, now they've cut it down. So basically, 2 of the routes would come down the back of our farm, all the way down this field, across to our other field, which we'll be videotaping here shortly, and then all the way up north of our field on the other side. So basically they would take our whole farm. They get a 200-foot easement that if something goes wrong, they could come in here and trash our crops. They could come in here and drive in here and just say they're inspecting and destroy our crops or whatever they wanted to do, because the easement will be permanent forever. So we're making this video to let you know that it just doesn't stop at the data center. There's a lot of things you need to know if this is going on in your town or your county, is that it doesn't stop there. It will affect people miles away. Like I said, we live 5 or 6 miles from it, and now we have an attorney fighting to keep our property from AES taking it, because they made an amendment to our Constitution that private entities such as AES or utilities are allowed to condemn your property and take it through eminent domain. That's things that they don't tell you when these data centers go in. This is things you don't hear about until that comes up and you start battling it. My wife and I heard about it from a neighbor. We never knew it was even going on. They said we got a little postcard in the mail. It looked like a little advertisement postcard. We're not even on AES, we're on REMC. So we threw the card away, and luckily our neighbor is on AES across the road who told us about it. So we missed the first open house. So we're making this video hoping to get this out to you, that the data centers have to have some type of stipulations put on them. Something needs to be done, because the destruction doesn't just stop at a town or somewhere like that. It reaches further out than that. We've had several of our representatives, we've read politicians. Some of them has been cooperative, and other ones we've kind of hit roadblocks with, which is to be expected. But you know, we're going on 250 years old, and our Declaration of Independence says our government is to protect us from things like this, not to allow people like that to have that type of power. So we're going to go over and video the other place of the farm, because when they get done with it, this will be nothing but recreational property. It'll be no good for nothing. We have 2 building sites. If you'll turn the camera that way, we have one right here, up a little bit, right about there, that we have plans for a house for. We have another proposed building site that when we bought, that we had plans drew for and over there. We've had the soil perk test. Our kids, we have 4 kids, they may be able to build out here, but if AES takes this property, it'll be worthless. It'll be nothing but recreational property, and it'll do nothing else but cut our property value in half. And you can look at this beautiful farm. Just look at the view that we would have here from a home. It's built up on this hill, and that rise, we would have that view right over back through there, through the woods. But instead, we're going to be looking at great big 150-foot steel poles with big fat transition lines going across there. Same way on the other side. So we're going to go in, we're going to film the other side and show you what's going on there. So why would we be allowed to wreck such a beautiful farm? Not only that, if something was to happen with the transition lines, who pays for my crops? Who pays for the trucks to come in here and wreck the corn or to wreck the beans if they decide they need to come in here and inspect the lines and drive through there with a 200-foot easement? If you think a 200-foot, that takes 1/4 of my field on both sides. 1/4 of the field is what they'll take. So we'll go video the other side and let you see it. Okay, my wife and I, we're over here at the other part of our farm on the west side of it. You can see back over there into the southeast corner. She's kind of panning around. This is what it would come across. It goes all the way up. We're basically standing at the property line at the north end. So it would come all the way across the south end of our property, right to where the field meets the road. where the field, and then the power lines would come right up through there. They would head all the way north the way we're standing, go up into our neighbors, and continue all the way down Bunker Hill Road. All the way north that way. So you can see how much of my field they're gonna take. They're gonna take portions of both half of my farm. It'll devastate it. It'll make it worth nothing. Our other property, our other house was, I'll have her pan over, was right about there's where we're gonna build. So if you take 200 foot, we're gonna have a pole barn a little further south. So basically their power lines would come up 100 feet from my woods, then another 100 feet, it would be deemed useless. This ground would be useless. This beautiful farm would be deemed useless. The original proposed plan where they were gonna come through my big old woods back there. But they decided to change that. We sent some petitions in, so they decided to change the route and not come through my woods, just come through my fields. Like, that was a big help for me. So again, until we start standing up for what is ours, this stuff will continue on. I mean, Google will come in and just devastate a county. And that's what they're doing. In my opinion, they're devastating. They're gonna ruin it. And there's gotta be some stipulations put on it. So hope you guys read this and see it, send it out. Let people know that the devastation just doesn't stop at the building site. It continues on past it, because it's the issue they talked about from the very beginning of these data centers. What are they gonna do about electricity, and what are they gonna do about water, the two biggest consumptions of this building. Now, you know, they're gonna take people's property away from them and condemn it to supply the water and the power to them. That's how they're gonna get it. They've got the law on their side, and big attorneys that says, okay, we'll just take it from you. You know, we'll just take it from you. So I told my wife, we live in a country where in a situation, in a bad situation, if a young lady tells a young man no, she means no. No means no. And I feel like the same principle is here. If I tell you no, I don't want you to come across my property, you should not have the right to take something that's personal to me. And this farm is personal to me. It's personal to me, it's personal to my wife. And just because you have a whole bunch of money, or you're some big company like AES or Google, I should be saying, no, I don't want you to come through my farm. I don't want your stuff on my farm, and you should accept that. That's what we teach. And that's the way it should be. They should not be allowed to take it forcefully. And then they say, oh, we give you this, we'll give you money for it. It's not about the money. It's not about the money for me and my wife. I know, you know, some people think it is, but it's not. This is our farm. This is, maybe one day we want to retire over here at our age. And with them to do that will completely destroy it. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up. Let you know if you're in this path or anything's going on with a data center and you live where one's going up, be aware, because it may be your property they're going to put the power lines through.